This is The Toss-Up, where we take a look at some of the topics facing the world of college sports and give a little bit of the history behind some of them. We're not trying to change your mind, we just want to dive deeper into the topics that keep you tuned in to the teams you love. As of today, over 520 NCAA Division I basketball players will be transferring schools next year. Over 100 of those transfers will be graduate transfers. To call it an epidemic at this point isn't absurd, but the issue has two sides. College athletics involve individuals, and this means it involves personalities. Every individual is different, and their needs are constantly changing. So if a student athlete sees his or her needs change, they should be offered the ability to change schools. And they are, but with restrictions. Prior to graduation, any athlete must sit out a year of eligibility in order to play at a new school. In addition to that, schools have the ability to restrict which school you want to transfer to. For example, back in 2014, Kansas State basketball player Leticia Romero wanted to transfer after Kansas State fired head coach Deb Peterson. Kansas State officials, however, refused to grant any of the 94 schools on Romero's list permission to contact her. This left her without any options, and this happens all the time. Programs can restrict where athletes go, while coaches can leave whenever and go wherever they please. With these restrictions, how do we as a society expect to handle broken promises? Does there need to be a change to transfer rules? Or will a change increase the amount of transfers we see to a level too large to handle? Now guys, do we need to see a change to transfer rules? You mentioned that number of students. Do you think if we were to offer up free range, free opportunity to transfer wherever you wanted without any restrictions, do you think the number of transfers would go up, and do you think that's a problem? Now, another part of the whole situation that we have to bring up is coaches and how they're able to leave whenever they please, whenever they want, and go wherever they want. Should there be some sort of rule around coaches where if a coach leaves, the eligibility rule disappears?
Yeah.
Now, another facet of transferring is the ability for a university to restrict which school you transfer to and which school you're in communication with. Do you think schools should have the ability to, say, restrict staying in conference or restrict going to a rival, or do you think that's just unjustified? Either way, I think it's clearly obvious it's worth the conversation. Maybe they'll be changed in the future, maybe they won't. But that does it for this week's show. Be sure to continue the discussion on our Twitter page at IUSTV Sports and on Facebook at IUSTV Sports. You can always give any suggestions for the show and ask any questions you might have. Toss it up. Find out if we'll catch it. Until next Sunday, be proud and cheer loud.